And it all comes down to the global acceptance of this digital currency. It is so early right now. Only the bravest and what people might be considered innovators are in it at the moment. There's less than 2% of the global population even knows what this stuff is, how to get into it, how to even buy it, how to trade it. They don't even know the names except for Bitcoin, and maybe you might know Ethereum or Litecoin, maybe. Even know what a Trezor wallet is. If you say Trezor, they think you're talking about a planet somewhere else. So how do you get people to accept it? First, you're going to run the news to death with Bitcoin surging in price. It was $3,200 after the fork. Bitcoin Cash also surged in price. Now Bitcoin today, $4,200. Watch how the news media runs with it. And then they need to get you to get into a debit card. We all accept debit cards. You shift sideways, cryptocurrency debit card. And also, if you're going to want to send money, you're going to have to make it incredibly easy. We're going to have to put it into a wordform.eth as an address so I can send you money or receive it. And we look at the Bitcoin capitalization itself, 43 billion. And wherever you look in these charts, CoinMarketCap or Polonia, Bittrex, whatever you want to use for your trading platform, it just shows the same upward trend. It was hundreds of % gain on every single ICO and coin that was out on the market. That's captured a lot of people's attention. And now they're talking about it, mainstream moment for Bitcoin here as it gains public acceptance from 1% of the population or even 0.03% of the population. Imagine if it's at this price at $4,000 and there's less than 1% of the population in on it. There's 99% of others that need to put their money into it. What do you think the value of one of those is going to be at the end of the run when 100% of the globe moves into digital currency? It's going to go lockstep right here with this grand solar minimum forecast. So you can see where most of the upward momentum is going to take place. There's going to be a giant shift in 2018. You're going to need to include central banks. Now Korea is in the supernode for blockchain. And they're also coupling with AC Chain. And then we get the Japanese government legalizing Bitcoin. And they're also putting AC Chain on their exchanges. Now we got the Ukraine. We got India. Crypto derivatives. Got digital asset investments. Australia is getting in on it with the Bitcoin exchanges. Series A funding. Hedge funds now. So all these mainstream instruments for investment that we're used to hearing about in the traditional stock markets are just moving over. They seem so much more safe when you term it something different. The SEC is cracking down on ICOs. So for the average citizen, wow, the SEC is involved. It must be much safer now. All these global financial service companies have been in since 2015, and you're just hearing about it, how safe it's getting now. They have a 2-year head start on you. And these are major players here. For the CME Group's the one that catches my attention out of most of that. And if you haven't dug into the Etherium Alliance, this is a corporate settlement instrument that they're working on to work between themselves using digital currency for settlement. That's not the sovereign or the international settlement instrument. And as more of this gets into the mainstream media, now they're offering MasterCard and debit cards with crypto, and it's making it easier to get into the exchanges and allow Bitcoin Cash withdrawals off a debit card. Once this happens, there'll be really mainstream acceptance. Oh, wow, I can just put my money in a different place that's safer, and I can still get it out with an ATM card. Awesome, I will get into that. And all these debit cards becoming so mainstream now. There's even ICOs for these types of cards with Monaco. You got Dash, 10X, BitPay with a Visa, Shift with a Visa for Americans. And even more regulatory news coming out. It's going to appear much safer. Now they closed down BTC exchange. Oh, those bad people in the dark web. Ooh, look how safe it is now. Put your money in. We're closing down all the nastiness, taking out all the ICOs, going to regulate those, close down exchanges. Your money is much safer. Now please put it in. NASDAQ going onto the blockchain along with New York Stock Exchange. Once these two major exchanges hit that, it's over. It'll be full acceptance of the global population. We'll jump into it, especially if we get over into Bank of England. Dare say, are they also involved? And then these new stories coming out, how to mine Bitcoin, and then, whoa, there's 21 Inc. put a Bitcoin mining device on your new iPhones? Oh, well, it's only to mine smart contracts. Interesting how those couple together. And now, what's termed Enigma Catalyst is going to usher in micro crypto funds. So any of those unbanked people on the planet that live on $2 a day, you're welcome also in the new scheme of things. We have a fund just for you, a coin just for you. It's a micro crypto fund. Now, the last thing is going to be how to send it to people. If you can't send it and it's difficult to understand, nobody's going to use it. So let's simplify it. Ethereum name service. And if you haven't heard of this, it's the way that you change your Ether address, which is the 30-digit numeral and alphabet code, which is difficult. You make one mistake on your private key or your address, and your money's gone to another person. We're all familiar with .net, .org, .com. Let's change that into .eth. Now it's human readable, so wallet.eth, that's easy. And then you can create a subdomain off of that as well, like nick.wallet.eth. So what about your family? Shirley.eth. And then you can put your son or your daughter in there, son.shirley.eth, daughter.shirley.eth. And all these subdomains can be just run out as well if you own the .eth address. If you didn't get on that, the auction started several months ago. And when we talk about digitizing all assets and everything on this planet, it can be encompassed in this diagram right here. From money to energy to art to videos to IP to labor to commodities and anything in between can now be digitized, commoditized in a coin issued for an ICO on the value on that. And my whole thing is, when are they going to start digitizing people? Because your labor is also value that they can issue a coin on. We're going to issue coin based on a country's workforce. Japan worker token. What, are you going to jump in on that? They're going to do the productivity of the Japanese economy based on hours worked or something, or monies earned? That's where it's going, though. And then we come to Libor. Going to be phased out by 2021. Isn't that convenient that they need to have everything in place by 2021? Where do you think that $350 trillion in securities and derivatives is going to make its way into? Do you think that's going to dissolve into nothing? Are you kidding me? That's just going to slide sideways right into cryptocurrency. And when 350 trillion gets put in there, Bitcoins are going to be well over $1 million US. And there'll be so many altcoins built off of this as well. I could see in the future hundreds of thousands of altcoins with all these ICOs. Now, Bank of England, proof of concept using Ripple with the 350 trillion in securities that they need to move somewhere. Because some of these derivative contracts are going to settle past the 2021 date, that's going to put everything in limbo. They're going to have a different system to settle it. So you can see at least a large portion of that 350 trillion moving over into digital currency space. It's about China trying to build out these quantum communications networks. The actual global distribution, usage, and security for cryptocurrency transactions in our daily lives can be implemented. And then the PBOC is going to start its own UN replacement coin. And then you have NEO coming in, and then they're digitizing all the actual physical assets. And you can see the timeline they're racing against. And you can also see how much money is going to flow into this whole digital currency space just using the grand solar minimum forecast. Food prices are going to increase, social unrest, and they're trying to avoid that the best they can. And also think about the investments into food growing. We're going to need to move a lot of food indoors with LED growing systems, shifting of agricultural zones, different kind of seeds that will be more hardy in the new climate. We'll have to finance new machinery, new seeds, whole new distribution chains in agriculture. This can all be done if there's actually value somewhere. But using a fiat dollar or a fiat euro in the future as everything's collapsing around, it's not going to work. There has to be value somewhere that people perceive as value. And it's just going to be this. I so clearly see into the future that I see this movie playing out before me. This is how it is going to move. So as the second amplification occurs from 2018 and 19 and the weather change on the grand solar minimum, also there should be at least a 4x or a 16x increase in cryptocurrency valuation. And as the more expensive food becomes, the more money will also go into the crypto space. So if you're in now, you're in early, you're going to be a multimillionaire, if not billionaire, by the time this runs its course into 2025. And then more news coming out just a couple days ago. Coinbase just raised another $100 million US. Now Coinbase, being a Coinbase customer with terrible customer support, having problems with two-factor identification, 8 tickets in trying to solve a problem with you all, You absolutely need to improve your customer service. It's horrible. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Our lives are going to be so drastically different, so very, very different from this point forward. I hope you can adapt to change, because that's all it's going to be from this point forward, is changing. Non-stop, continuous, metamorphic, ground-shaking, inconceivable changes, and you're going to have to roll with it. And I hope this gives you a head start of where it's going, so you can position yourself correctly to benefit off this. You should be thriving during this time. You should not be a pauper at the end of this time. With this information that you just watched this video, you need to be coming out of the backside of this a multimillionaire and helping others along the way too. That's the whole point. Just don't go in it all greedy and try to get as much as you can and leave everybody in the dust. Bring people along with you. Help people along the way. There's going to be a lot of mental breakdowns during this time. There's going to be such a high suicide rate during this time. You need to explain to people what's going on, that it cycles in the sun, not to worry about their wealth. There's other ways to preserve wealth, and not to worry about the food. You can grow your own food. You can work with your community. You know it's coming, so you can start to prepare right now in advance for all these changes. And on a last note, with the world in such disarray right now economically, and you can see governments spending so carelessly and recklessly, and you look at it and go, they're using no common sense. It's impossible what they're doing. How do they expect to pay anything back? They never will. They won't. They don't intend to. And all your retirement savings that's locked up into this system is absolutely going to vanish. And speaking of those using digital platforms, thank you so much, Daniel, Kristen, and Tom, for your contributions through paypal.me/adapt2030. I've also listed my cryptocurrency deposit addresses below, so if you feel you found this video informative in some way that can help you benefit through the future, please consider Patreon or a cryptocurrency deposit.